Because, we shared a very little bit of the agenda with our leadership team. Who knows Ivan Zoot? Raise your hand if you know this man. We have him here today, as you can see. There he is. Before we bring him up, we want to get a couple of housekeeping things going on. We will feed you. Matt Lewis has made the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, as he always does. We're going to get a raised hand of who has never been to leadership in North Carolina. And you guys, let's stand up. Thank you. You guys are in for a treat. Now, the other people who've been to leadership secretly know what can happen, so don't trust them. Okay, don't trust them. We have fun. So we're gonna have Ivan Zoot this morning. We will have a sneak peek of book competition. So it's gonna be fun. Cheryl and Danielle will handle that. And then we're gonna do a blend of new culture and predictable outcomes. Two favorite classes we mashed up together and gave it a new facelift. We will have lunch around 11:50-ish. Bathrooms out the door. If nature calls, do answer it. Go to the left. You'll find it. No smoking or vaping in this room, please. That goes outside. And we'll be done at 6:30 this evening.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so I'd like to make a couple of announcements and see where is our Matt Lewis area developer. Please stand up.
Yeah.
Leaders in the room. Team leaders, please stand up. Oh, okay. All right, we have our coaches in the room. And Danielle is about to be our area coach, so please give it up. We have Roland Master in the Raleigh market. Ron's been with us for about 101 years. And have Coach Cheryl out of Greensboro. If you didn't know who she was, you will today, because she's on an artistic show team. You will see her in videos. Also have from DVE, Miss Gwen Franklin. Gwen, you should see her because she's got goodies passed out. Nice. We're gonna hear from her later on today as well. All right, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce you to one of my mentors. I came from the world of Redken. Before I came to Sport Clips, I was a color artist. I trained people how to do color. I trained people how to get on stage. I did not do men's haircuts. And I came to Sport Clips. This is where you laugh and chuckle under your breath, right? So I came to Sport Clips and I needed to really learn how to cut fades from men. And I found Ivan Zoot in Cherry Point, North Carolina. We were doing a training together. Well, he was doing a training, I was doing an opening. And I spent a couple days with him. He changed the way I cut hair. He changed the way I thought about cutting hair. And he also has been an inspiration to me for about, I'd say, over a decade. So he holds 3 world records. He is the clipper guy. If you look for him on social media, he is Ivan Zoot.
Good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here and have a chance to share a little bit about what I know, share a little bit about what I do in the business of putting hair on the floor. We've got a little program here. I'm going to be with you for a bit this morning. Then we've got an afternoon program with a select group of you folks. We're going to be sharing some things technically. But let's get into the program. Of course, we're starting out in the world of sports with just a few thoughts or a few things to think about. I found that one online. I kind of like that one. Maybe obvious, but there it is. I'm a big baseball fan. When it comes to playing and winning, I truly believe that this is an important philosophy. You can't win in the beginning. You can't, but you can lose in the beginning based on how you start and how you set yourself up for success. This is an important one, although I'm not from the Northeast. I enjoyed watching this when it happened and being a part of it. It's the end that matters. It's how you finish that matters. We're going to talk a lot today about how we finish, what we do every single day. We can't talk sports without talking football. We can't talk football without talking about Taylor Swift, apparently. I was in the airport flying yesterday, and there was a girl sitting on the bench outside TSA, and she's wearing a bunch of Kansas City Chiefs stuff. And I walked up to her and I said, "Are you a Kansas City Chiefs fan or are you a Taylor Swift fan?" And she kind of laughed a little bit. It was very obvious she doesn't understand football. However, 19 teams have won the Super Bowl, having not been the first team to put points on the board. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And 30 of 56 Super Bowls, more than half of the Super Bowls that have been played, have been won by a team that was losing at some point during the game. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's not over till it's over. Not how you start, it's how you finish. If you want to finish stronger than you start. With the time that we have today, we're going to be focusing on the final moments of our game. And as I start to say these things, some of you are starting to see sort of where we're going. We're going here. We're going to talk about our 5-point play, a concept that is fundamental to who we are and what we do every single day. Now, not being directly involved within your culture, but being an invited guest, being someone who has hovered around, orbited your universe quite a bit. I don't know a lot about the origins of the 5-point play, and I don't know about a lot of its evolution, what it was as it matured to what it is today. But I'm reasonably familiar with what it is today, and we're going to talk a little bit about it in particular. But we don't talk about anything here without talking about our mission statement. Are we all familiar with the mission statement?
Yeah.
Everybody knows the mission statement?
Yeah.
Is everybody good with the mission statement?
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah. You sure? Anybody notice anything?
Yeah.
That's not the mission statement. That is not our mission statement. This is someone else's mission statement, but it is not our mission statement. Our mission statement looks a little bit different. Our mission statement looks like that. And that little red word that was omitted from the mission statement, in my mind, is the whole mission statement. We can't have it without it. It might be somebody else's mission statement, but it's not ours. There are plenty of people out there that are focusing on and accomplishing that mission every single day. Many of our competitors are capable of doing that every single day. Let's not kid ourselves. The average haircut in the United States of America today is above average. Beauty school instructors have been working hard. Barber school instructors have been doing well. They're producing graduates that are better capable than they've ever been at any time in our history. And putting out quality haircuts, not that tricky, really, at the end of the day. And our competition is really good at doing that. This mission statement, somebody else's mission statement, is really points 3 and 4 in the 5-point play. If you know the 5-point play well, you will recognize that mission statement directly addresses points 3 and 4. And for a long time in the business, part of my introduction here today talked about my Guinness World Records, talked about my technical experience in the business. I was, for a lot of years, a point 3 guy. I was really focused on nailing point 3 really, really well in our 5-point play. Delivering, and point 4, delivering that haircut, that technical service. But our mission statement is a little bit different. Our mission statement is really points 1, 2, and 5. That's what our mission statement really is. We could have a 3-point play, and we could be extraordinarily effective if we get these 3 right. Is everybody with me? Mm-hmm. All right, kind of heavy stuff to get started with, but we're going to have some fun with it as we go. We're going to focus on 1, 2, and 5. If you think about it, 3 of the 5, which represents 3/5 of the 5-point play, 60% of our mission statement has nothing to do with putting hair on the floor. more than half of who we are and what we believe culturally is not about the haircut. And I think that's powerful. I think that's super exciting. And I think that's what I based an awful lot of my programming on today. So if I'm wrong, this is going to be horrible. But if I'm right, this could be powerful. 1, 2, and 5. Raise your hand if you have kids. Keep your hand up if you got more than one kid. Let's be honest. Anybody got a favorite? Some people get offended when I ask this question, but if you've got more than one kid, do you have a favorite? I have 2 boys.
Yep.
I absolutely have a favorite child. Does either one of my boys know which one is the favorite? No, they're not aware. But if you talk to my wife, we have 2 boys, she's got a favorite, I've got a favorite, and guess what? They're not the same kid. Because those 2 kids are very different. My younger one is my favorite, because we kind of are the same human. We got a 5-point play, and I got a favorite. My favorite is 5. Because I think 5 is where we really secure our future, where we really cement our bottom line profitability, our success in what we do, and our achievement of the mission really comes down to getting it right in point 5. So point 5 would be my favorite child. We're going to focus on 3 elements of point 5 in my presentation. We're going to focus on recommendations. We're going to focus on rebooking, and we're going to focus on referrals. Now, I chose to use the word recommendations. I used to share a program called Barber Like a Pirate. What does a pirate say? Arr. Truth of the matter is, everything you need to know to be successful behind the chair serving male clients in the beauty and barber business comes down to R. And I had this whole list of things that all began with R. So I had to figure out how each one could be switched to an R. So the use, recommendation, suggestion, and transaction of professional take-home hair care product turned into recommendations because it's an R. There you go. So these are the things that we're going to focus on through the program this morning. What we're going to really focus on here, though, is the power that you have behind the chair. And I've talked about this so many times over the years. I think at times we forget how much power we truly have to influence outcomes. We are not passengers. We are not participants. We are leaders. We are drivers. We are the ones that are making things happen. And in our industry, truth be told, I think one of the real struggles is selling cross-gender. And what I mean by that is overwhelmingly female service providers serving male clients. That's called selling cross-gender. Truth be told, you guys have it much easier than I ever could when serving male clients. But all too often, we forget how powerful we really are and how much leverage we really have to execute. When we talk about the power that you have with your clients behind the chair every single day, you have their time. We have a unique opportunity in the beauty and barber business with a client. They are sitting in our chair, utterly immobilized. When I grew up in the business, there was a guy, some of you that have been around a while might have heard of a guy named Michael Cole, who was an educator. Somebody referenced Redkin earlier. Michael Cole used to teach a class called the 10,000-pound chair cloth. And it was the idea that when a client is sitting in a chair and you put the cape on them, it is as though the cape weighed 10,000 pounds and they are incapable of movement. If you've ever left the cape on the client and stepped away from the chair to lead them up front to finish their visit, and they're sitting in the chair, they can't even get up. Because with the cape on, they're literally locked in the chair. We have a captive audience. There are many businesses, many retail environments. How many times have you walked into a store, been looking around, walking through a store, and a clerk came up to you and said, "Can I help you?" And you said no, and turned around and walked out. Simply because they approached you and said something. "You're trying to sell me stuff. I don't want to buy stuff. You're trying to sell me stuff. I'm out of here." These are phenomena we see. We have the gift of a captive audience. We have their time. We have their attention. They're listening to us. They may be watching sports on TV, again, part of our culture, but we have their attention. We're listening, we're talking, we're engaging and connected with them. We have their trust. If I'm going to let you cut my hair, I probably trust you at a certain level. I either trust your brand because I've had contact with you in another city or town, and I'm familiar with the fact that I will be treated well and I will have a good experience when I visit Sport Clips. They trust the brand, or they know you personally, or maybe they trust that location. I've been there, they're good, I can go there, it's safe. They have trust. You know what you do. They have confidence in your ability to execute. If they're a repeat customer, you've done this before, they've come back. We're going to talk about the fact that that's such an incredible miracle in just a bit. And you have authority. You have authority. You're dressed in red and black with a logo. You have the power. And at the end of the day, clients will do as they are told. Really, what it comes down to, especially cross-gender, we have to be better about telling people exactly what we want them to do. Because overwhelmingly, when you have all the first group of elements, clients will do as they are told. Shame on us if we're not telling them. We have an obligation and responsibility to not squander and to leverage the power that we have. The first thing I want to address on our list is rebooking. And this one's interesting because we don't book appointments. But because of the fact that our culture and our system does not book appointments in a conventional sense, that doesn't give us the free pass to ignore just how very fundamentally important the act of rebooking is to what we do and how we are successful in the business. Rebooking, by definition, is the art, and it is absolutely an art of getting the client on the book for their next appointment before they leave the building today. That's the definition of rebooking. We're going to put an asterisk at the end of it because we don't take appointments. But that doesn't absolve us of the responsibility to engage in rebooking activities. Just want to double check here. And we said, got to use a sports-related reference here. That's the Miracle on Ice, the U.S. hockey team. If you're not a hockey fan, you still know about miracles. Miracles are miracles. How many people here have ever had a client return? Somebody that you've cut their hair, they actually came back and bought another haircut from you. How many people have had that happen? A lot of hands. That's a lot of miracles. We somehow take it for granted that a customer that we served once before will come back and give us the opportunity to serve them again. But if we think about it for just a moment, we realize that's a freaking miracle. When you consider the options and choices available in the marketplace and the outside influences acting on your clients every single day, they see a buddy who got a good haircut. They see a billboard on the side of a highway. They get a coupon in the paper on Sunday. They see a refrigerator magnet at their brother-in-law's house with an advertisement for a barbershop or hair salon. The idea, the fact, or the notion that any human would ever come back to you and give you a second opportunity to cut your hair, when you think of the number of options and choices they have, that is a freaking miracle. Yet we witness that miracle happening every single day, and we don't necessarily pause and accept it for what it is. What that miracle really is at the end of the day is it is an insurance policy. Securing people's next visit during the present visit ensures our long-term financial health and success and viability as an individual, as a store team, as a brand, as a chain, as an organization nationwide. And that is why rebooking is so important. But when we talk about rebooking, we have to be very specific to how it works within our organization, within our culture. We have to tell clients when to come back. Dude, this is a 2-week haircut. And you guys know this stuff. You cut hair. You know that's a 2-week haircut. That's a 3-week haircut. That's a 4-week haircut. That haircut can go 6. I need to explain that to you. You get that. They don't know. We need to be telling clients as part of our experience with them exactly what we want them to know and what we want them to do. Dude, that's a 2-week haircut. And we need to tell them why. Dude, we tapered and faded the sides really tight on you. That's a 2-week haircut. You go more than 2 weeks, that's not going to look good anymore. You're not going to see scalp through it. It's not going to be tight. It's going to get fuzzy. The edge is going to go. It's going to look bad. You're going to be back in 2 weeks. Dude, we cut the top short. We're using firm hold gel to spike it up like that. That looks awesome. That's going to rock for about 4 weeks. But at the end of about the 4th week, the top's going to get a little long. The top's going to get a little heavy. It's going to start to flop on you. It's going to be laying flat. It's going to look like a little roadkill, that animal on the top of your head. That's a 4-week haircut. Dude, you got to go no more than 6. We cut your hair a little bit shorter and it's laying in really nice, but you got curly wavy hair and you know, well, you get about another 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch on there, the ends are going to start to pop. It's not going to lay in nice. It's not going to look good. You're a 6-week haircut. We gotta tell them when to be back. We have to tell them in terms they can understand why to be back, and we gotta tell them how to be back. You gotta go online, you gotta get on your phone, you gotta download the app. Even better, you know how you do this? You look at the client, you go, give me your phone. Literally take their phone from them, go to the Play Store, go to the iStore, well, I don't have an iPhone, so that works, but go to the iStore and download the app for them. Do you guys have a QR code on the wall somewhere in the shop for the app? Yeah, walk them over there and boom, click, let's go. And walk them through the process. They're not that smart, they need help. Help them. Tell them how to download the app. Tell them how the app works. We open 9 o'clock. The app's not going to load up till 9 o'clock. So just after 9 o'clock, you want to come in, you got to go on the app. You got to click. You got to get yourself in the queue. Explain to them how that works. Tell them if you have a regular or consistent schedule, you can provide that information. But tell them when to be back. Tell them why to be back. And tell them within our culture how to be back. Tell them what they need to know. At the end of the day, in the beauty and barber business, those individuals that are effective rebookers, and we're going to define effective rebookers. I can't just throw the term out without explaining it. But those individuals in our industry who are effective at rebooking, and again, in our business, effective rebooking is not the same. We're not actually locking and securing an appointment. But effective rebookers find themselves in the top 10% of earners in our industry nationwide. Rebooking is the single most important non-technical skill you can ever develop in our business. If you can be effective at explaining to people when to be back, why to be back, and how to be back within our culture, you will build business bigger, faster, and quicker than 90% of the people in our industry. Does anybody have any questions or comments on this? The importance of it, or how it relates to how we operate? Anybody, anything?
How you kind of fooled us in the beginning. I was absolutely sure that's our mission statement until you separated it and said it's the experience. So I appreciate that you kind of showed us that, that's it. Not that.
Thank you. I've been playing with you folks for a long time. In a former career, in a former generation and version of my life, when I ran shows in education all over the world for a manufacturer, I used to participate in the huddle all the time. They would invite me to come out. I'd be a judge for the look competition. And every year when they called me, get a phone call from Texas, hey, you gotta come out and do the huddle. And of course, Sport Clips loves when someone else is paying for things. So when I was on a manufacturer's budget, it was very easy to have Ivan show up because somebody else buys the cheeseburgers, the hotels, the rental cars, and the airplane tickets. I would show up and do my thing, but I would always ask them, hey, while I'm going to be there, do you want to do a class for coaches? Do you want to do some technical training? Do you want to do some hair cutting? And I cannot tell you the number of times, year after year, end over end, when I offered Sport Clips free technical education at the National Huddle, they said to me, and I quote, nah, that's okay. We're good. We're not really doing much technical. We're focusing on soft skills. It's exactly what they said to me. I'm offering them free, put hair on the floor education for their coaches and their teams and their people. And they said, nah, thank you. We're not really doing that. That was at the point in which I personally, truly began to understand how the mission statement relates to who you all really are. And I'm kind of proud of the fact that I don't think there are that many people that are not receiving a paycheck from your organization who know the mission statement by heart. But I committed it to memory a long, long time ago. And when I come in and play with you guys, I understand what it means to who you are and what you do. So thank you for pointing that out. But it's that one word, experience. At the end of the day, it is who we are. It is what we do. How many people here have worked someplace other than Sport Clips in their career? Exactly. We come from different places. We come from different backgrounds. People that aren't from us don't really get it. They don't really understand that. And they're not intrinsically, it's not in their DNA the way it is for us. All right. Let's see what's up here next. I got to cheat and look ahead on the slides. All right. Let's talk about referrals. Past several years, this has kind of been my favorite little pet subject in the business. And this is where a large sector of the room will say something like, okay, Boomer, look, I've been around a long time. I got 35, coming up on 36 years cutting hair. When I owned my salon, the technology that I had in my pocket was a beeper. Do you know what my beeper did? it beeped. And when my beeper beeped, I would have to dial a phone number and talk to a human who would read me a message they had written on paper. Okay, I'm old. When I built my business, old school, I built my business without many of the tools you have available today, many of the things you rely on, many of the things you think are fundamental to success in our industry. And I'm here to tell you, most of them don't work and none of them are necessary to build business in our business. I built business the old-fashioned way. My shop was 1,000 square feet. We had 8 cutting chairs. Something you're pretty familiar with? 1,000 square feet and 8 chairs in a little spot in a strip center. I had 24 hair cutters on my team with me. So we had a lot of people. We needed a lot of people. We did 330 to 350 haircuts every single day. I came from the low price, high volume, family oriented sector of the marketplace, a part that you are a part of, and I fell in love with and got passionate about who we in that sector are and what we do. And basically I took everything I knew and I put it on steroids and I blew it up. And I built it all with what I'm going to share with you right now. I built my entire business, 330 to 350 $14 haircuts every single day, because at that time $14 was what a haircut was back then, using what I'm going to share with you next. It is the most effective way to build business in the beauty and barber business. Nothing ever has worked better and nothing ever will work better. I don't care what app comes out, what social media platform evolves, what other tools exist. Nothing will work better than this. Nothing is less expensive than this. Nothing will grow your chair, your shop, or your business faster than this. And literally, nothing is easier than this to build business in our business. Who wants to see it? Yeah, okay, we got one person interested. All right, come on up. I'll show you. All right, here we go. Now, this is going to be an interactive exercise. You need a partner. So I want everybody to kind of look around their table or the table next to them or behind them and pick a partner. Since this, yeah, pick.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm the hair.
All right. Since this is an odd numbered table, y'all are partners. We all are partners.
Okay.
Everybody's got to get a partner because you're going to do this. You're going to role play this. You're going to play this with me right here and right now. Because I'm not just going to tell you what it is. I'm going to teach you how to do it, and you're going to practice it. You're going to be comfortable with it, and you're going to feel good about it. Are you ready to do this?
Yes.
All right. Now, I have a question for you. If I show you this, if I tell you how powerful this is and how powerful this can be, are you actually willing to turn to the person sitting next to you? Turn to your partner and ask the question. Are you willing to do it? Still right now. All right, now I'm not counting, but I'm guessing. Let's say there's 120 people in this room. I don't know if that's an accurate number. I'm just making up a number. But if there are 120 people in this room, right now, you all witnessed 120 people just turn to somebody that looked in the eye and go, you gonna do it? Are you willing to do it? You gonna do it? And 120 people looked at somebody and said, yeah, I'm so gonna do it. I'm totally gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, that just happened. But what I want to share with you is what we know is that statistically, mathematically, 120 people just look somebody in the eye and say, yeah, I'm totally gonna do it. 117 people just lied to someone. They just said, yeah, oh, I'm so totally gonna do that. Oh my God, I'm gonna do that. You're gonna do that. And then you're gonna go home. And then you're gonna go home and you're just not gonna do it. And what I want to share with you related to that, and I know this doesn't sound good when I say it, but if you know me a little bit, if you've seen me at a show or watched me online or you know, over the years crossed paths with me, you know, I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you straight. One of the most exciting things for me about the beauty and barber business And I bounce out of bed in the morning. I don't get out of bed in the morning. I don't wake up in the morning. I bounce out of bed in the morning. If the alarm goes off, it beeps once, and I am out of bed turning off the alarm, and the phone's in the other room. I am so excited to get up and get out and get at it. And one of the reasons for that is because I know and I understand that generally speaking in our business, I know this doesn't sound good when I say it, generally speaking in our business, my competition sucks. It is so easy for me to win at this game. It is so easy for me to be successful. It is so easy for me to take away other people's customers. The other guy shows up late for work. The other guy leaves earlier than their scheduled departure time. Their book's not full. They walk up to the front desk. They go, hey, I finished my 2:30. I'm supposed to be here till 5, but I'm done. I got nobody on the book, so I'm going to head out. I'm going to hit Home Depot. I got to pick something up. I'm going to grab a cheeseburger. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? And not 7 minutes after they walk out the door, somebody comes in to get a haircut going, hey, where's Jimmy? I got to get a haircut. Oh, Jimmy went early. Jimmy went to Home Depot and went to get a cheeseburger. He's not here. Did you cut my hair? Jimmy's not here. Did you cut my hair? Jimmy just lost a customer. Jimmy made it so. The other guy shows up late. The other guy leaves early. The other guy will lead a client back to a chair that has not been swept. The other guy throws neck strips on the floor. You're on Instagram. Go on Instagram on Saturday at 5:30 in the evening. I challenge you to do this. Go on Instagram at 5:30 in the evening on Saturday, scroll through your Instagram and find that picture. You know it's there because you've seen it before. It's a haircutting chair in front of the station. And on the floor is about ankle deep hair clippings all around the chair. And there's about 12 neck strips scattered in the hair. And they post this on Instagram, hashtag busy barber, hashtag busy stylist, hashtag Saturday in the shop. Look at the comments. Go to the comments. Scroll through the comments. Look through the comments. You're going to find me. I'm in the comments. Hashtag filthy scumbag. Hashtag disrespectful. Hashtag not in my shop. Hashtag you're going to get a new job. But the other guy does this every single week. The secret to success in our business is don't be the other guy. Literally, it is that easy to win. Some of this stuff is inherent to our culture. Some of this stuff I hope to introduce in some ways that we can add to and build on, but it's all in the 5-point play. It's already there. They didn't invite me in to make a 6th point. They invited me in to support what they already do and the way they do it and how they do it. Are you willing to do this?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Interactively. You've served the client, finished the haircut, we've taken them up front. We have our procedures as they are laid out within the 5-point play. And one of them is the solicitation of referrals. What I want to share with you now, what I want you to practice with your partner is 3 sentences. We're going to learn them one at a time. We're going to build them on one another. We're going to learn them in order. You're going to repeat them word for word. I'm going to demonstrate with my partner, and then you will do this with yours. Your name is?
Kelly.
Kelly. Kelly, have you ever had a haircut before?
Yes.
Okay, because I've given haircuts before. So you can pretend to be a haircut client.
Okay.
Excellent. I can pretend to be a haircut giver. Right, you know what to do. Now, did we rehearse this last night?
No.
We're just doing this cold.
Cold.
I have a good feeling about this. Are you ready? This is how it works. Kelly.
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity to cut your hair. That is sentence number 1 right there. Call them by name, look them in the eye, and express gratitude for having been given the opportunity to cut their hair. It sounds like this. Kelly, thank you for the opportunity to cut your hair. Turn to your person, turn to your partner. Everybody do it, switch, everybody do it again. Let's go right now.
Ivan,
Thank you for the opportunity to catch it. Oh, Bree. Bree, thank you for the opportunity to touch your hair.
All right, circle up. Circle up. We're done. We're done. We don't need more time than that. This takes like a second and a half. Kelly, thank you for the opportunity to cut your hair. Raise your hand, let's be honest. Is there anybody here who does not understand that sentence? Okay, good. Is there anybody here, be honest with me now, we'll work with you. Is there anybody here who does not believe they are capable of saying that to a human? Call out my name, look up in the eye. Kelly, thank you for the opportunity to cut your hair. Are we good with sentence number one?
Yeah.
Sentence number two, we're gonna start over from the top. You're gonna hear two sentences in order. When you go to your partner, you're gonna say both sentences. We're building here. It sounds like this. Kelly, thank you for the opportunity to cut your hair. I appreciate your business. I appreciate your business. Four little words. I, me, it's personal. Appreciate, an attitude of gratitude. You, it's personal. This is us, business. This is a business. This is not a hobby. It's not a lifestyle. It's not a culture. It's not a racket. It's not a grind. It's not a scam. We're running a business here. And sometimes we lose sight of that, especially those of us who are a little more into the creative aspect of what we do here. We can be creative. We want to be creative. But we are running a business. Kelly, thank you for the opportunity to cut your hair. I appreciate your business. Turn to the person sitting next to you. Do it and switch. Both sentences now. Go.
I've been
Thank
thinking
you
of
for
the
the
opportunity to cut your
opportunity to cut your
hair. I
hair. I
appreciate you.
appreciate your business.
Read about it.
The opportunity to cut your hair. I appreciate your business. Thank you.
You know what's written there? It's not easy.
And I was like,
Your business. I said I appreciate you.
So what?
No.
Well,
You said read it off the board.
are we good?
I know.
Anybody not good with this? Anybody doesn't think they can do this? Are we ready? On behalf of the entire group, we can do it. We have extraordinary expectations for next week. All right, here we go. Back to the top. Sentence number 3. Building on what we already have. It sounds like this. Kelly, thank you for the opportunity to cut your hair. I appreciate your business. If I gave you 2 cards, would you send me 2 friends? If I gave you 2 cards, would you send me 2 friends? That simple 2-part question. If I gave you 2 cards, would you send me 2 friends? Go. Each of you, 2. Let's go.
Ivan, thank you for the opportunity to cut your hair. I appreciate it. If I gave you 2 cards, would you send me 2 friends? Actually,
If I gave you 2 cards, would you send me 2 friends? Together. You had it right. You had it right.
All right, circle up. I gave you a little extra time because we got all 3 sentences there. But how long does it take? The whole thing might be 7 seconds if you said it slowly. Thank you for the opportunity to cut your hair. I appreciate your business. If I gave you 2 cards, would you send me? If I gave you 2 cards, would you send me? 2 friends? It is, I think that it's just that simple. 2 cards, 3 sentences. Every customer, every haircut, every visit, every time, without fail. Nothing is cheaper. When I got into the beauty and barber industry 37, 36 years ago, a box of 500 business cards cost about $43. Today, ordered online from Vistaprint, 500 business cards cost about $7. The price has come way down. Cards are cheap. The time to do this is negligible. Nothing ever has worked better, nothing ever will work better, nothing ever will build faster, and nothing ever will be less expensive to build and grow business in the beauty and barber business. We have some tools. You may use some of these in your stores, you may not use some of these in your stores. You may have other tools available to you as marketing evolves and as things happen. The send a buddy card, the touchdown card, your conventional business card. I don't know if those are current iterations of these things. It's the slide that I have. It looks like it looks. It is what it is, but it's cards. You may have other marketing pieces that can be utilized in this way in the shop every single day. 3 cards, or 2 cards, 3 sentences, every client, every haircut, every visit, every time. Now, that last phrase I just used, every client, every visit, every haircut, every time. It is what we refer to as 100% compliance. And I don't think you understand what I mean when I say 100% compliance. So I want to make that point by telling you a story, and it's a true story. A while back, on Interstate 405 in Southern California, in the northbound lanes traveling north from San Diego towards Los Angeles, there was an armored car full of money. Some of you may have seen this on the news. It really happened. We don't know exactly what happened, but at some point in the trip northbound on the highway, the back doors of the armored car unexpectedly popped open and all of the money came flying out.
Talk about it.
Did you see this?
Yeah.
All right, so we had people stopping their cars on a busy interstate, scrambling around on the highway, stuffing money in their pockets, stuffing money in the trunk of their car. I'm not sure what these people thought was going on because it's all on video and it's like January 6th. We're just coming to your house to arrest you. We know who you are. It's all good. But bottom line, this happened. And this wasn't supposed to happen. Did anybody here ever worked for an armored car company? Okay, neither have I. But I understand that when you get hired by an armored car company, like when you get hired by Sport Clips, they share with you a job description. In writing, it might be paper, it might be a PDF online, but they share a job description. And it tells you what are the expectations for you in the performance of the job. In the job description for armored car guy or girl, which I haven't seen, but I can only assume, somewhere in the written job description, it says, lock the truck. And it doesn't say sometimes. If you stop at McDonald's to get a cheeseburger, lock the truck. If you stop at the gas station to use the restroom, lock the truck. If you stop at the bank to pick up or drop off money, lock the truck. There are three people on a truck. There's a driver, there's a guy literally driving shotgun, and there's a third person whose job is to take the money in and out of wherever they stop. All three of these people have been told, lock the truck. Not some of the time, all the time. Does that make sense? My question to you is this. Do you think any of those three people still work for the armored car company? No, they don't. Because they have failed to understand what it means to execute with 100% compliance. These things, these rebooking tactics, tell them what you want them to do, tell them why you want them to do it, tell them how you want them to do it. Referral solicitation. 2 cards, 3 sentences. Every customer, every haircut, every visit, every time, starting tomorrow until forever. That is the minimum acceptable expectation. Is every time forever. Does that make sense? Because it will work. Because nothing will work better, nothing will work faster, nothing will be cheaper. Questions or comments? Anybody, anything?
Arcade property.
What's that? Okay, there you go. Turn to the person sitting next to you and do the 3 sentences again. I'll bring them back if you need them.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. If I get 2 cards, we do something.
Okay, circle up. Let's talk take home. Everybody good? Everybody good? Let's talk take home for a minute. The use, suggestion, recommendation, and transaction of professional take-home hair care product. And you'll notice in this scenario, it's one of the only times I resist the use of the R word that many times we use to describe this stuff in our business. You guys know which word I'm talking about? I don't use that word. Primary reason I don't use that word is there are lots of folks for whom the use of that word carries a connotation that's more expensive. Retail as opposed to wholesale. By the way, was there a hand here? Did I see a hand earlier? You have a question? I remember you.
I went back and I thought it's.
Let's say that louder for the folks in the back. Saw this before, implemented it. 65 new clients to the business in 3 weeks. Now, I also remember when I was with the Hardy team here in North Carolina, when they were giving out awards, and I don't remember if those awards were monthly or quarterly or whatever they were giving out awards. She needed a 2-wheel hand truck thing to take her awards out the park. So there's something going on there, and I got a sneaky feeling it has something to do with compliance. We're playing the game by the rules. You know, we don't make this stuff up. We work on this stuff and we take time and we develop this stuff. I'm sure the 5-point play was a 7-point play at one point, and it was a 6-point play, and it was a 4-point play, and there was debate, and there was argument, and there was fighting, and what are we gonna keep, and what are we gonna leave out, and where are we gonna settle? I'm sure they didn't just whip up 5 points and go, we're done. There was time, there was effort, there was energy, and most importantly, there was data and statistics to back up the facts. Best practices, KPI, key performance indicators, best practices, the things that have been proven to deliver the results for athlete rapidly, effectively, and efficiently. That's what we're here to talk about. That's what we're trying to focus on. Now, I set something down, I don't know where to put it. All right. So the use, suggestion, and recommendation of professional take-home hair care product. Now, I met our friend here from DBE, and I sincerely hope that nowhere in today's agenda was she, I know she comes from the product. I hope that nowhere in today's agenda was she or anyone else planning to do anything related to product knowledge. Product knowledge sucks. Okay? It is horrible. It is painful to experience. And I'm a firm believer, and I've worked for so many brands and companies, whether as an employer or as a consultant. I just don't think product knowledge works. I certainly don't think we need to know anything in the ingredient list. I also believe we really probably don't need to know anything on the backside of the bottle in order to make product go away effectively. When we talk about product recommendations, most often, and product knowledge falls in this bucket, we talk about how to sell product, how to make product go away, how to increase retail sales. And generally speaking, how is like pushing a big rock up the hill. How many people here, raise your hand, be honest, like to be told what to do? Wants to be told what to do. Okay, I believe that success in product relies on talking about why, not how. We need to appreciate why product sales matter. Once we embrace, understand, and appreciate why they matter, I believe most people will either beg us to tell them how. They will literally ask for product knowledge, so to speak, which you can do that asking for product knowledge classes. Once they figure out why, once they buy why, how will take care of itself. Because y'all are smart. If you believe in why, you'll figure out how. You won't need me for that. The example I use, raise your hand if you have a kid. Raise your hand if you have children. Second time we've done this. Okay, if you don't have children, raise your hand if you've ever been a child. Now we got everybody in on the program. Have you ever asked a child or told a child to clean their room? How does that go? Go clean your room. If there was ever a 7-year-old that flipped you the finger, this is
Oh, Lord.
and you don't necessarily physically actually do it, but they never force to tell you, yeah, whatever. You tell them, go clean your room. Go sell product. And they flip you the finger. You ever had a stylist flip you the finger when you told them the product sales were too low? They might not have physically used their finger, but they told you that through their body language, through their actions, through their feelings, and through what happened the following week. They flipped you the bird. If we want to get the room clean, we can tell them what to do. Put the clothes in the hamper, put the toys in the toy box, and make your bed. Telling them very specifically what to do. This is how we sell product. You can tell them what to do. I think it's far more valuable to tell them why. Clean your room. Because if you don't clean your room, next month, Santa's not coming to our house. What's going to happen to the bedroom? Now, they're probably going to shove all the crap under the bed. But when you walk in the room, how's it going to look? Because we've incentivized them with what they need to hear. Does this make sense? So we're not going to talk about what sell product. We're not going to talk about how the mechanics of, and we will talk a little bit about how, but more importantly, we're going to talk about why. And when we talk about why, I produced this many years ago, and I've used it for a long time. It is a list of reasons why it is important to use, suggest, and recommend professional take-home hair care product in a professional haircut environment. It's a top 10 list, like the old days of Letterman. There are 10 items on this list for why you want to transact product. The back of the card is how. The back of the card is 5. And just like the 5-point play was very deliberately crafted into 5 points, it's no accident that the why list is twice as long as the how. Because again, if they buy into why, and there are some folks that will internalize all 10 of these and go, yeah, get it. There's some folks for which one item on this list will resonate, will click, will connect, and they'll go, I'm in. For that reason alone, I'm in. And at that point, they will either figure out how on their own, or they will beg me, you gotta show me how, you gotta tell me how. And then we give you 5, it's quick and easy, it's over and done with. I'm not even gonna cover the hows, because I believe and I have faith and confidence that if you appreciate, if you engage with, if you connect with the whys, you all can take care of the how on their own. In this afternoon's program, when we split with the folks we're going to be meeting with, I'll be meeting with this afternoon, we'll roll up our sleeves, we'll dig into the hows just a little bit. But for this group, I want to run you through the 10 on the list of why it is important to engage in the use, suggestion, recommendation, and transaction of professional take-home hair care product. Number 1, client retention. Happy, real simple. Happy clients stay, product buyers are happy. Overwhelmingly, individuals who purchase products from us are happier with the result of their haircut and with the experience. They go home, they can do their hair. I was at a social gathering last week, and a woman showed up who's friends with my wife, and there was a small cluster of people standing around. And when she walked up to the group, everybody in the group took one look at her and goes, "Oh my God, you had your hair did." Now, to say that this woman generally looks moderately disheveled would be kind of a compliment, but her hair had been cut.
But it's me.
You want to own that? It's cut. All right. But her hair had been cut, her color had been updated, and she'd been blown out smooth and tucked under nicely and flat iron shiny, and she looked lovely. And every single person noticed right away, and everybody complimented her and said something about it. And she said, she touched on the golden nugget. And everybody in the room knows that I'm in the business. Everybody in the room knows that I'm in the business. And I stood there, my wife shot me a look and said, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything. And I started biting a hole in the end of my tongue. And then I had to say something, couldn't help it. She said, oh yeah, I wish I could have this woman come home with me and do my hair for me every day. You ever heard that? In the industry, you ever heard that? Oh my God, you did a wonderful job. I love what you did with my hair. It would be great if you could come to my house every morning and do this to my hair. We've all heard that, right? Do you realize that that is probably one of the greatest insults that could ever be paid to a beauty and barber professional? What is at the origin of that statement is not, oh my God, you are a supremely talented cosmetological professional. What they really said is, oh my God, you have failed me. I am powerless to be able to do this on my own. You have not given me the tools, the products, the information, the training, or the skills to be able to do this myself. And tomorrow morning at 7:45 in the back room, I'm screwed. That was what I contributed to the conversation. And everybody in our little group took half a step back. Wow, they know me. And they either like me or they don't, because it is what it is. But number 1 on the list, happy clients stay, product buyers are happy. If you're all about retention, does anybody here work, don't point to anybody when I say this, does anybody have a coworker or a team member who's what I call a tip chaser? This is an individual who doesn't really give much of a thought to any of the things we're talking about here. Every single human in the waiting room is $5. $5, $5, $5, $5, $5. And the factor they can always see, feel, and understand is the immediate gratification of a gratuity. And if I can pull another body out of the waiting room, I got another $5. And at the end of the day, if I do 12 clients times 5, I get $60 cash that day. They don't think about the week, the numbers, the paycheck, the retention. You know what about that? Okay, here we go. Yeah. But so if you're that person that's just fundamentally focused on the next butt in your chair, One of the greatest ways to ensure that there are butts in their chair is to send people home with bottles of goop. Product buyers happy, happy clients stay. Number two, new client referrals. Happy manufacturers support the industry, take with one hand and give back with the other. Now, what I mean by that is this. How many people have ever read a trade journal in the beauty and barber business, like one of our magazines, whether in print or online? Anybody ever looked at a beauty industry magazine? Raise your hand if you ever read a magazine. You ever subscribe to a magazine? Those magazine subscriptions do not cover the postage to bring the magazine to your house. Who paid for that magazine? Who pays? Why does that magazine exist? Advertisers. Who advertises in the magazine? Product manufacturers. Where do they get their money? Your customers. Your customers, through their purchase of products, pay for that magazine. Anybody ever been to a hair show? Raise your hand if you've ever been to a hair show. Raise your hand if you've ever been to the huddle. Who pays for the huddle? Who pays for the huddle? The huddle is paid for by a group of manufacturers that sponsor and support your organization. DBE lady in the back room is rolling her eyes going, oh my God, you have no idea, okay? They write crazy checks because it takes a fortune just to turn on the lights in the convention center to make that huddle happen. And all of their money, not your money, it's your customers' money. Because nothing in our industry happens until a client buys a bottle of stuff. Does that make sense? These are the 10 reasons why the use, suggestion, recommendation, and transaction of professional take-home hair care product matters to you every single day. The backside of the how. In the afternoon program, we'll dig a little deeper into how. How are we doing on time? What do we got left? A good 20, as opposed to a bad 20 minutes? Did you have a question or comment? Gotta be loud.
You finished with that? Can you take a picture of that?
Would you like to take a picture of that? I will have this available for anyone who, and I'll stand next to it and pose. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'll make sure you get a picture of that. I think I probably got ahead of the slide here, but I gotta look ahead of steps I'm gonna see where we're at. Yeah, well, I was 10 and I was 5, we talked about that. Okay. Then my next slide is my favorite slide. See if you can figure this out. What is that? You remember this from last time. What is that? What's that? Somebody said it. Q&A. That's right. We've come to that portion. Questions. We want to kind of open it up for you guys. I want to kind of dig deep. I want to make sure I left enough time in the program to dig deep on some of the things we talked about and some of the things we addressed here. So, Oprah's got the microphone. You're going to run around the room and. All right. Questions. Anybody? Anything? If you don't have questions, I'm just going to keep rolling with the program.
What initially got you?
Turn the microphone on.
Check.
There you go.
So what initially brought you to?
What initially brought me to the business? I get that question a lot, especially when we do interviews with students and stuff. I graduated from high school. I went to community college. I finished community college with a degree in hospitality and food service administration. And I got a job selling institutional food service and restaurant supplies, driving around the neighborhood selling napkins and silverware and dishes and janitorial products to restaurants and food service industry institutions. That job sucked. It was a straight commission job. If you didn't sell anything, you didn't get paid. I got a paycheck 1 week. I wouldn't call it a paycheck. I hadn't sold much that week, and I had a customer return something that was rather expensive. And the computer system at the office printed out a paycheck for -7 cents because it added up all my commissions and debited off all my chargebacks. And the system actually cut the check. My boss called me on the phone. He goes, "Hey, did you get your check?" And this is when checks are printed on paper. I go, "Yeah, I got my check." I go, "Do I have to bring you the pennies?" He goes, "No, but I suggest you keep that one and frame it as a reminder of what happens when you don't sell." I hated that check. But I had a customer. The customer was a hair salon. And they bought cleaning products, garbage bags, sanitation things from me. They bought napkins, they bought some things for their coffee bar. It was a little customer of mine. But I went in there about every 6 weeks, and it was kind of a neat place, kind of fun, kind of enjoyed hanging out there. And he seemed like a kind of cool guy. I'm looking at the business going, oh, this is kind of interesting. Now, I spent most of my youth under a car with a wrench. And a wrench and a scissors aren't really that different. And I'm good with my hands, and I got a job in sales. But what really drove me to the business was a young lady by the name of Elaine. Elaine used to cut my hair at a hair salon around the corner from my apartment where I live. And I would go in and get my hair cut by Elaine. And every time Elaine cut my hair, I was pissed. Every time Elaine cut my hair, I was unhappy. And I kept going back. And after one particular haircut that I was not happy with, I walked into the parking lot kicking gravel and mold. And when I got to my car, I asked myself, why do I keep going back? I never chose to answer the question. What I determined was I kept going back because I liked Elaine. I had a relationship with this young woman that I felt was the kind of relationship one should have with one's haircut professional. I liked the location, it was right around the corner from my apartment. I liked the price, that was about what I thought you should pay for a haircut. I liked the music they played on the radio, I liked the magazines they had in the rack, I liked the goop they sold me to put in my hair. I'm an 80s guy to this day, it's from the gel, that's all I use. I liked the product, the owner seemed like a cool guy. I liked every single thing about the haircut except the haircut. And I already talked about this today. That was when I understood the haircut business. And I literally said, tomorrow, I'm going to do this. And the next day, if you know Chicago, I'm driving home down the Eisenhower Expressway, and I'm going to Pivot Point's main campus on the north side of Chicago. And I went on a tour with a guy, many of you may know him. Anybody know Gordon Miller? Gordon Miller's got a famous podcast in the industry, he's been around forever. At the time, Gordon Miller was the director of Pivot Point's campus. And I went on a tour at Pivot Point's campus with Gordon Miller. And he showed me around and he told me all about beauty school. And at the 5th floor, it's a 5-story building, he took me all the way through the building. I said, okay. I said, how do I pay for this? He said, we go down to financial aid, we fill out some forms, see about a grant, see about a loan. I go, no. How do I pay for this? He goes, well, we go downstairs to financial aid, we fill out some paperwork, see about a grant, see about a loan. No. You take a check, you take cash or credit card, what do you want? At the time, Pivot Point was $14,000 in 1987. He said, oh, well, you can write a check. And I took out my checkbook. I said, when do classes start? He says, we start every month. We started last week, Tuesday, so we start 3 weeks from Tuesday. And I wrote out a check. It was a good job, but I didn't like it. I wrote out a check for $14,000. And I handed it to him, and I said, I'm starting tomorrow. And he looked at my check, and he said, well, Ivan, we'll see you tomorrow. And I went home, and I told my wife, who at the time was not my wife, was my fiance, we were getting married, and she thought, oh my God, he's got this great job, he's making lots of money. I go, hey, guess what I did today? I signed up, and I had never mentioned the word beauty school ever before in my life to anyone. Hey, guess what I did today? I paid $14,000. I signed up for beauty school. She goes, what? I'm starting tomorrow. She's what? We got to beauty school. This is going to be so cool. I'm going to make a ton of money. So we went to dinner with my parents. And in a pizza place, not far from where we live, at dinner, my dad's a dentist, my mom's a hospital administrator. Both of them have like 7 advanced degrees. I said, hey, check it out, tomorrow I'm starting beauty school. And my dad went, what? And my mom went, what? And I go, no, this is gonna be cool, don't worry about it. Then we went to my wife's parents' house, my in-laws. And they thought, hey, our daughter met this guy, he's got a good job, this is gonna be great. And we told my in-laws, tomorrow, starting beauty school. And my father-in-law went, or my mother-in-law said, oh, it's amazing, you do my hair. And then my father-in-law said, you let me know when you're ready, we're gonna open the shop. I was saying for beauty school, I had no intention of opening a shop. But I got into the business because I did not like my haircut. And I understood, and I became friends with Elaine, and later I had a conversation with Elaine, and I now know what the problem was. Do you know what the problem was? Consultation. Her haircuts were perfectly good, but they were not what I wanted. There was nothing wrong with her. I did not know how to explain it. She did not know how to draw it out of me or interpret what I was asking for. And at the end of the day, I ended up with a perfectly good haircut that I didn't want. And we laughed about that later, after I was involved in beauty school. Told her she was the inspiration for it because her haircuts were bad. No, you want to hear the story about the haircut and why? This is another great story. 24 hair cutters on my team in my shop. Now, we all know that once you're a beauty and barber professional, you don't ever really get a haircut. You get about 20% of a haircut every week. You walk up to one of your buddies and you go, just In between customers, right? Or you walk up to somebody and go, "Can you trim my bangs? Can you trim my bangs real quick?" Trim my bangs. We get a piece of a haircut. Now, of course, I've got 8 chairs, 24 hair cutters. Whenever I need a haircut, I own the shop. I literally walk up to a chair, sit down, and say to the young lady, "Cut my hair." Because that's what we do, but I get a haircut. So one day I walk up to one of the people on my team and I say, "Hey, you got a minute? Cut my hair." And I plunk down in her chair. And a couple minutes later, one of my team members, we're not going to use her name, but Patty comes up and she stands right next to the chair and she goes, "How come you never sit in my chair?" I didn't call. Because I will sit in almost any one of my team members' chairs, but I will not sit in Patty's chair. I will not let Patty cut my hair. And she figured it out. Patty was a little lovely young lady. Patty did great haircuts. She did lots of haircuts. Patty made a ton of money. Patty sold more American Crew firm hold styling gel than anyone in our building. And by the way, my shop in suburban Chicago was the first hair salon in the world ever to purchase an American Crew intro kit. Because the distributor that I bought from, his sister was my sales rep. And when they launched the product, and I knew David from the neighborhood, the salon was near my parents' house. She came right to my shop first thing in the morning on a Tuesday after Crew launch. She goes, "You got to buy this." And I said, "Send me 2." And I bought 2 intro kits on the first day. So we were literally the first shop in the world to sell American Crew. But she sold more American Crew firm hold styling gel than anybody on the planet, but I would not let her cut my hair. So I said to her, as soon as she started cutting my hair, I'm going to pull a client out of the waiting room. "I'm going to show you why you don't cut my hair." So I got the client in my chair, gave him drink and get him all ready. Regular customer, I knew the guy. Stand behind the guy, and I take my scissors, and over the top of his head, top working area, I comb it up, cut it off, comb it up, cut it off, comb it up, cut it off, comb it up, cut it off. At the sides of the head, vertically, either fingers in palm to palm, or over the top of the head, back of my fingers, I cut the sides. I cut the top really horizontal. I cut the sides really, really vertical. And where the vertical side and the horizontal top intersect, you know that weight corner? Right here, at that part of the head, took the comb and the fingers, pulled the hair up at 90 at the weight corner, at 90 at the weight corner. And I held it in my fingers like that. You can see that, you know, that triangle of hair that exists coming out at 90 where the vertical and horizontal come together. I combed that straight up off the head. And she looked at it and she goes, "You gotta cut that off." I go, "That's why you don't cut my hair." Because every single customer in her chair was a Q-tip. Every single customer in her chair was 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, and they all had round hair. I am too round for round hair. I mean, those many people that know me for years, I had a hardcore flat top with a serious corner on it. Now it's usually typically more soft but modified, but I still keep the weight corner in it. That was why Elaine didn't get it the way I wanted it. Elaine didn't understand how to leave a weight corner. Another question? Yes.
If you can give, so as you saw at the beginning, we've got a lot of new managers in here. What is the, oh, I thought I
I'll
was-
repeat it, but I really didn't hear it. Let overdo her job.
What is the number one thing or idea or advice that you can give our new managers in the business, and the biggest takeaway that you had from your career, and are you
There's lots to unpack there. Let's start at the top. Let's work backwards. Am I a Bears fan? No. I am a Chicagoan. I am a Cub fan, and I am an international soccer fan. Cub fan. Your side or Cub fan? What are you, Sox fan? Yeah, come on. And did you see we just hired this one? We just hired Craig Counsell, the manager of the Brewers. That's 85 miles to the north, and it's not really a rival because my whole life the Brewers were in the American League, so we never really played them. Houston was our big rival, like that. St. Louis, of course, but no, not a Bears fan, not a football fan, not a game. What else did you ask me? Advice for new managers. I'm gonna pivot on that just a little bit, in that I'm going to say I am not well versed enough in enough of what we'll call your operational expectations to know really what are a lot of the expectations of managers, the KPIs, the key performance indicators, I don't know that job, but I know the business and I know the industry. And I get a version of that question literally every week on a podcast or on stage at a show. So I'm going to answer a form of it. So maybe I have a future in politics by not answering the question directly. But frequently I get the question, what's the number one piece of advice you would give a young person, a cosmetologist or a barber student entering into the industry for their first job to be successful at their first job? Would that be a decent answer?
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer to that question, and I say this all the time, and this is where I get the eye rolls and I get some interesting feedback from it, but if you're brand new in the industry and you are looking to be successful in the industry, when you show up for work in the morning, lock your cell phone in the trunk of your car. Be present, be here. Look people in the eye when you speak to them, connect with them as humans. It goes back to that relationship issue, why I kept going back to Elaine. It goes back to why I got into the business. At the end of the day, we have a generation of folks who don't know a world without when did the first iPhone come out? Like 2001? Those folks are now like finished with high school, finished with cosmetology school, and showing up with a job application in their hand. They've never lived in a world in which they didn't have a cell phone and an app and a device like that. And a lot of times they don't have some of the engagement skills that are going to be fundamental for success. So at the end of the day, it's be present. And I would say as a manager with your team members, be present. I believe that managers in our industry, you need to have a meeting. And when I say have a meeting, we can interpret what that means. You need to have a meeting with every one of your team members every day, every week, every month, every quarter, and annually. Daily, it's that check-in. How you doing? How's your mom? You mentioned she wasn't feeling good. Is she all right? Just show them you care. Show them you're there. Show them you recognize that they're a human, that are more than a haircutting tool in our haircutting machine, that you're connected with them when they feel valued and they feel engaged and they feel a part of what's going on. They'll tell you more about their mom than you really wanted to know. And all of a sudden, you're going to foster those connections. Does that help? Wow. I can't hear a word of that.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
So you said you had a shop with 24 styles. How did you keep each of them motivated to continue that behavior behind the chair?
How do I keep each of them motivated to continue that behavior behind the chair? That's a great question with 24 people on the team. And again, I'm going to use a story to illustrate this. We would frequently have product selling contests. We love product selling contests. I had a team member who didn't matter what the prize was, didn't matter what the incentive was, didn't matter what the contest was, she would not play. Now remember, I told you a long time ago, I'm a bad manager. Young, inexperienced, with no idea what the heck I'm doing. We had a poster on the wall in the break room that tracked performance in the contest on a weekly basis. Every week, every day, we come in and we post numbers on the chart. And every time this girl was on the bottom of the chart. And she wasn't interested in doing anything. And I happened to overhear her say to one of her team members, quote, I don't really care about winning this contest, but I just don't want to be on the bottom because I don't want him harassing me. Interesting. So what did I do? Remember, I'm not a good manager. No, I didn't harass her. I started fudging the numbers on the chart. Didn't matter what she sold, she was last. Didn't matter what happened, she was last. I started faking the numbers. I had a real chart in the office and the fake chart on the wall, and she would walk in the break room, look at the chart, and go, I'm still on the bottom. And she would go back out in the waiting room and sell things to people. Well, we got to the end of the contest, and this girl who didn't care about the contest and just didn't want to be on the bottom came in like third. Because when we had our meeting to wrap up the contest, I brought that one from the break room, I brought mine from the office, and I go, yeah, you guys see this one in the break room? That one's not the real one. I've been faking the numbers. You can only do this once. Okay? Bad manager. And then I brought out the real chart. And I explained, I overheard you say you care where you are in the contest. You just don't want to be on the bottom. I put you on the bottom because I figured out what motivated me. So the moral of the story is, I don't have an answer for you for motivation because people are different. I am motivated to eat well until I am motivated to have Snickers. Okay? Motivation can be very, very fleeting, and it's different for everyone. So my answer to you, I'm gonna go back to the check-in answer up here is, you gotta discover, what do you want? What are your hopes and dreams and goals and aspirations? I've watched Sport Clips grow from, there's a video out there that I showed when I was with the Hardy folks. I was a special guest at the 400th store grand opening. That's a long time ago, okay? That was Las Vegas. But you guys have grown a lot. I was at the huddle this year for the first time after being gone for a while, and I was amazed at what you guys have built in terms of infrastructure and roles and opportunity for growth. Back when there was 400 stores, you know what you could do at Sport Clips? You could cut hair, or you could be a manager. Are there more opportunities than that? Lots more than there ever were back in those days. So my answer is, you got to figure out what motivates people, and then the question becomes, how can I? And this is, somebody's going to be upset with this answer, but the answer is, you have a responsibility to support that individual. There's a hierarchy of people above you. You need to go up the ladder, and you need to seek help from those people. Say, hey, this individual needs to this is what they want. How are we going to bring them up the ladder? How are we going to engage them, motivate them, and get them where they want?
Can you repeat that?
Which part?
The last part. I need that loud and clear. Everybody.
Going up the ladder? Yeah, hey, wherever you are on the ladder, there's somebody below you and somebody above you. And you have a responsibility to support the people below you, but there are people above you who have a responsibility to support you. And just as you on a daily basis need to be working on them, the people above you may naturally, instinctively, out of an understanding of their job, they may gravitate to that role to support you on their own. Sometimes you may have to have them kick and scream a little bit to get what you need from them. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Squeak. I just made something good. Yes.
You always. That you had 8 chairs, 24 times. So what did that look like? Can you walk me through that? What did it look like on a daily basis? Because to me, in my head, that sounds like a chair never went down. So how did that? Did you have
350 haircuts a day, a chair never went down. Number one, you don't have a station. It's not your station. By the way, I own the shop, those are my stations. Okay? And learn to split my time in the change. We fill the room from the front. You take the first available chair when you come in based on the time of your shift. And if somebody's gone home and you come in, you're taking first chair. So, and don't put pictures of your cat and your granddaughter on the mirror. It's not your mirror. Put those in the rack room. You can share it with one another. That's fine. We need to have personality, but that's not your station. We use plastic bins or totes to store tools. There was racks in the back. When you were done with your shift, your stuff went, your personal, your scissors, your personal tools went in the tote. The tote had your name on it. It went on a shelf in the back. Somebody showed up for work. They grabbed the tote. They loaded up the station they would use that day. So we were rotating like that. We opened at 8 in the morning. We were open until about 11 at night. Okay, but we're doing that. And here's the other thing. We work short shifts. We would never work more than 6.5-hour shifts. And the reason for that had to do with the fact that, and I don't know the rules, but in the state of Illinois, and maybe a federal rule even, more than 6.5 hours, I have to give you a lunch. On a 6.5-hour shift, I give you a 15-minute break. So, and my people, the people who work on our team, they made more money in 6.5 than they did in 8. Because a busy 6.5 is more productive than an 8 with a little bit of this. So it was, and part of it also came down to everybody has a job. And I would explain this to people. Your job as a member of our team is to empty the waiting room. As the owner and manager, my job is to fill the waiting room. Marketing. If I do my job, fill the waiting room, you do your job, empty the waiting room, we're all good. As soon as you start trying to help me fill the waiting room, telling me how to run my business, we have a problem. So you just do your job. I'll do my job. It's gonna be okay. Bad manager.
Clearly, you're not in the store every day. I assume you can still consider yourself the manager.
Oh, I no longer own my shop. We sold my shop a number of years back. Yes.
How did you leverage assistant managers to touch every employee all the time?
How do you leverage assistant managers to touch every employee every time? A couple things. Number one, skin in the game. They have some, for those that are financially motivated, they have some financial outcome tied to the performance of individuals and the team. At some level, management has to have skin in the game, I believe, in order to, if for those that are incentivized financially. Beyond that, it's that ladder. You're supporting them, they're supporting the team. Everybody understands that. Sometimes I think it simply needs to be spelled out. Let's understand, you at rank and file haircutters, who are you supporting? The customers. The customers. Everybody's got a customer. The guy in the waiting room waiting to get a haircut, that's your customer. As a manager, who's my customer? Y'all. Y'all are my customers. As a supervisor, a coach, and on the line, everybody's got a customer. Take care of your customer. And let's clearly define what take care of your customer means. And it could mean to be invested in the success of those individuals.
What was your turnover rate?
What was my turnover like and how did I retain my staff? I think my turnover was better than average for the industry at the time. I had some employees that I hired when I opened and they were still there when I sold the business. I sold the business to the parents of a young lady who worked for me. When I broke the world records and I started traveling and teaching, it was either keep the business and install managers and hope that they will run it well, or sell the business now. I can always open another business later. We chose to sell it to the parents of the young lady who worked for me. What was it?
How did you retain?
Oh, retention, yeah, okay, so I had some people that worked for me the whole way through. I can tell you our people earn better than industry average wages based on how we compensated, based on how busy we were. Because do the math on those haircuts. 8 chairs, 24 haircutters, 350 haircuts a day. You can work backwards and figure out how many haircuts were individuals doing. And with a commission system not dissimilar from the way in which chains compensate, and tip income and retail and things like that, people were well paid. We also were very flexible with the answer to the question, what do you want? As an example, one of my longest tenured employees was slightly older than most of my staff. She was my age. She was also a mom, and she had a couple of kids. And in talking to her as through the time that she worked for me, it evolved that it was very important for her to be home before the kids got home from school. Fine. We're going to schedule you in such a way that we can meet that need. However, that might mean you're going to have to work weekends more often than somebody who doesn't want to work weekends as often as an older person versus a younger person who, I don't want to work the weekend. So we were flexible in that. We also had a lot of benefits that at the time were unusual. We had paid healthcare, we had paid vacation, we had paid sick days. And part of it was because our commission would allow us to be able to, and our retail sales allow us to have a revenue with reduced costs. Retention and turnover, always going to be an issue. I think there's a formula. I can't speak to what it is for you guys, and I can speak to what I'd like it to be. There's a portion of your staff that's going to be there long term. The bottom, there's a revolving door sometimes where we're churning through those. Obviously, we want to limit that because churn is extremely expensive. Identifying, recruiting, training, managing, and having somebody bust out of the system is one of our biggest challenges, one of the most costly negative impacts on our business. There's a survey out there that says, it's a number of years old, but it's from Modern Salon. It said, when questioned about why, and for men, when questioned about why a man did not go back to a location that they previously went back to get their haircut, a chain location, you know what the number one reason for why clients turn over, male clients turn over in chain salon locations? Quote, every time I go in there, the girls are different. And understanding that turnover has a drastically negative impact on client retention. What's that? We go to time, where are we at? We're at, okay. Anybody else? Final question? One more good one. Maybe it's got a good story attached to it. Oh, behind you. You probably had your hand up the whole time, and I've been standing over here.
How fast are you guys typically cutting hair?
How fast were we cutting hair? Don't ask me that question. My God. I got 3 Guinness World Records for this. I came from, the question was how fast were we cutting hair? Prior to my opening my own shop, I came from the low price, high volume, family oriented sector of the marketplace. I worked for what at the time was the largest multi-unit chain salon operation in America. And we held to a very strict 3.2 haircuts per hour. That was the goal, 3.2 haircuts per hour. If you went faster than 3.2 haircuts per hour, we slowed you down. We throttled you back because we understood that north of 3.2 haircuts per hour, that's where the problems happen. That's where the consultation errors happen. That's where the redos happen. Simple things like sideburns aren't even, the top wasn't as short as I wanted it. You know, we track those redos very aggressively. We look for patterns and things like that. But we were looking for 3.2 haircuts per hour. So that was kind of the standard against which we worked. But we were not targeting or selling what would be the equivalent of your MVP service. We weren't doing that. You know, I joke around about it, but it was one haircut, you know, one handshake, 2 dirty jokes, a bottle of gel, and get out. So we were working on about as well. Now, for context, just so you know, the Guinness World Record originally was 18 haircuts in an hour. I broke the world record. I did 22 haircuts in 1 hour. That was the Guinness World Record. Taken in 1998. 22 haircuts in an hour. Well, I started traveling. I started teaching. I wrote a book, and somebody broke my world record. They did 23 haircuts in an hour, and that got me upset. So I did 34 haircuts in an hour. You can beat me by 1, I'm gonna slam dunk you. 34 is the world record. Those are fast minutes. The fastest haircut in the world, the world record was 2 minutes, 23 seconds. I did a haircut in 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Somebody broke my record, they got it down under 2 minutes. That pissed me off. So I did a haircut, and I've broken that fastest haircut world record 16 times. The fastest I've ever done is 55 seconds. Yes. If you have a friend named Google, you can look it up. And the third one, I was the first person ever to set a world record for 24 hours of continuous hair cutting. I started cutting hair at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. I cut hair until 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. So if you think you've ever had a long day at work, we can tell. But that record was 340 haircuts in 24 hours. That is more hair than the average licensed cosmetologist in America cuts in a month. So 340. And the answer to the question of what kind of haircuts, it was very deliberate. These were charity events and publicity stunts. They were open to anyone and everyone, male, female, long, short, black, white, curly, straight, it doesn't matter. They paid money for their haircuts. The money was donated to charity. We lined them up and we cut them all. In the original 34 haircut hour, I had everything in there. It was very deliberate. Scissor cut, clipper cut, razor cut, any tools we want. But here's the thing. I have 3 world records. They hang on the wall in my home. They have my name on it. Do you remember when Michael Phelps at the Olympics won like 8 gold medals and he was on the front cover of Time magazine and had a picture of him with all the medals around his neck and his name? What was not on the cover of Time magazine? The name of the 49 other people necessary to make that world record happen. His coach and his trainer and his speed endurance coach and his massage therapist and his exercise psychologist and his weed dealer and everybody else that was necessary for Michael Phelps to have a world record. It takes a team. It takes a village. It takes a group of people. So those are my world records, but what you don't see reflected in there were people sweeping, there were people timing, there were people taping and draping, there were people shampooing, there were people combing people out. It was like NASCAR. We had the station set up with the tools, like a NASCAR pit stop. And anybody here ever been in an auto shop in a high school or community college where they have the cabinets with the tools, where the hammer goes in a spot with an outline of a hammer drawn on it, so you know where to put the hammer back? This is what we did on the stations. We had blades and clippers and tools. At the time, I worked with a clipper manufacturer. If you buy a high performance clipper today, 5,000 blade strokes per minute is common on a high performance clipper. I was using hot rod and clippers that came out of our factory at 10,000 cutting strokes per minute. You know, I had tools you don't have access to. I had special things to make it happen. So it was a team of people to do it. But it was very important that it was anybody and everybody, long and short. What was it?
Yeah.
I've done it on more than one haircut. I've done it on more than one type of haircut. I've done that on a layered bob, in which you've got to come in, you've got to cut the perimeter, and you've got to layer the full interior. So it's all the sectioning and everything to do that. I've also done it on a classic men's taper, you know, and now keep in mind that haircut is clipper over comb, up the sides, across the top, up the back, all clipper over comb, trimming comb, trimmer, line, edge, detail, finish, all the way through. And it's a system. If you go online, if you go on my YouTube channel, and I think the last slide up here has got my website. I don't know where the clicker is. Where's the clicker? I put it down there. All right. Yes, all right, this is the last slide we have up here. My website is up there. It's my name. That's my YouTube channel. That's my eBay. And but that's where you find me on every platform and everything like that. But if you go to my YouTube channel and you type in something called revolution cutting, or you type in Guinness World Record, it's a system. It's not a haircut. It's an approach to any haircut, shoulder length or shorter. So it can be applied to any haircut. You notice these guys here, little by little, creep towards the front of the room. That is the nonverbal "Ivan, you're done" signal. So We have the final slide up there on behalf of.
You guys enjoy that?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of new leaders in the room. You may not know that we have a superhero cape. So Dawn, if you would please, we're going to drape Ivan Zoot in the North Carolina
I should have put that on
Superman
earlier.
cape. So once you get it on, we're gonna turn you around so everyone can see it.
Yeah. Get tired. I'm gonna fumble with it in 15 minutes. All right.
I want to thank you. I want to find something extraordinary. You are my mentor. Thank you so much for inspiring me and keeping me inspired. I want to acknowledge you and celebrate you. So we're going to, we've got some gifts here, his own book. I would like to see, can we have 6 volunteers who would like to face somebody up here? 6 volunteers who would like to say thank you to somebody in the room. It could be anybody. Come on up, come on up. Quick, quick, quick. You guys want the books? Come on up. Randy, come on, Randy. Come on, come on, come on. What are you doing, Randy? You got it.
Good job.
We got 6.
All righty.
We got 7. That's right. We'll go with 7.
You know what? We'll find something for the 7th one. Okay, so here's Rosalie. Would you please? Okay, guys, give it up for Rosalie. Of the year nationally. So thanking somebody is find something to celebrate, right? Acknowledge and thank them and enjoy. So here you go. Anybody here? Anybody in the world that you want to acknowledge?
Anybody in the world that I want to.
Well, that'd be good if it was in the room, but.
Big pressure.
That one's my personal copy, so it's a little worn and ragged. It's got a little mileage on it.
Ooh,
But it's
mileage.
personal.
Well, mileage. Well, I think
I have more
I
at home.
want to just acknowledge that we can be in this group together again and be in person with everybody and to have Ivan to do everything that he did today and tell us all of the knowledge. It was great. I guess I get it.
My name is David, I'm the new manager, 6-month anniversary today. The lovely support, the coaches, and of course, Kelly, my team leader, and Matt Hoover. I appreciate the opportunity, to be with you. It's a great trust and I appreciate it.
Awesome.
I just want to thank both of my leaders here, Megan and Karen, for giving me this opportunity to be here today and for giving me all the support that I need in going forward with this position. Thank you.
Guys, my name is Whitney. I want to acknowledge Jackie Keller today. She has been a mentor. She has been a sister. I thank you for all your words of encouragement. And I appreciate every time I have called you and you have lifted me up and you continue to do so. So thank you for being my mentor and one of my best friends in this company. I appreciate it.
Hi guys, I'm Erica, manager over at NC 504. I personally just want to thank Patrick, who has had my back. I've gone through a lot personally, and he has come through for me a lot. So I personally want to thank him.
I personally want to thank Tracy Carter. Tracy actually hired me 16 years ago, just over the phone. One conversation with me, I've been with the company since. And shout out to Christine back there.
All right, I'm ready. I want to shout out Patrick, Casey, and Diane. Oh. You guys are great. Got it, Brandy.
You're welcome.
Give her some love.
Yeah.
Patrick helped me with Blakely Law. Twice, I think with everything that happened through COVID, through all of my things. Casey believed in me when I thought no one else did. And Donna, you've had my back, pushed me through so much in the last few months, and I appreciate you all three so much. This has been a family and a life. Thank you.
Oh, wow, that's gonna be, it's an honor to be in this group, in this room, isn't it? When you think about it, it's an honor. And for the new store leaders, are you guys inspired yet?
Yes, ma'am.
A little bit, a little bit. So, let me tell you what's happening next. We're going to bring Matt Lewis up for, a state of sport clips in North Carolina. Some news we need to share. We are working on the sandwiches. So after we talk to Matt, and we gotta wrap up a few more minutes, we will have lunch, okay? So, Dawn, would you explain what's gonna happen, during lunch?
All right, so during lunch, some of you guys are getting evicted. And I'm not playing. That back row back there between Robert over here on the right and over here by Stacy on my left, sorry, I'm backwards to you guys. That whole back row is going to disappear during lunch. We have some seats up here,